What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me once again. Today, I'm a little nasally, so I apologize in advance. But I'm here to share with you this delicious beef ramen noodle recipe. The noodles are saturated in this delicious sauce. It is spicy, it has a little bit of sweetness to it, but most importantly, it's easy. So since it's so easy and I'm already hungry, let's get into this. So first things first, I'm going to chop up 3 Serrano peppers, use at your discretion, 1 large shallot, which is basically a garlic and an onion had a baby, and 2 large cloves of garlic. I'm going to mince this garlic up nice and fine so I don't have any large chunks in there. And that is essentially it for your aromatics. Next up, we want to go ahead and make the sauce. Why I want to make that ahead is because with any Asian recipe, you want to go ahead and get everything prepped before, because all of it is essentially a stir fry. So to a small bowl, I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of low sodium soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of plain white sugar. If you have palm sugar, you can certainly use that, but I know that's not something that is accessible to everyone. I'm going to be using some sambal or leek, also known as your chili garlic paste. I'm just going to use 1 large tablespoon of that as well. If you like things on the spicier end, by all means, use more. I'm also going to be using some spicy chili garlic oil. This one happens to have like some crispies in it, but if you happen to not be able to find this one, you can certainly use a chili oil without any of those and just add some red pepper flakes to that. And then, of course, I'm going to add some hoisin. So you might have heard me say this before. Hoisin sauce, to me, is like Chinese barbecue sauce. I'm also going to add in 1 tablespoon of this as well. And the last thing, I just think that fresh black pepper always tastes so good on noodles or pasta or anything like that. So I'm just going to add just a little bit of this just for extra seasoning. Give this all a stir and your sauce is done. Here I have 2 pieces of a New York strip. This one happens to be thinly sliced, but you can certainly use a thicker cut. You can also use a ribeye or even a fillet, but this is what they had available in my local grocery store. I did trim off most of the fat so that the ramen dish itself wasn't super fatty, and I'm just putting this into nice bite-sized pieces. So once your meat is all chopped up, you want to go ahead and add in some coarse salt, some freshly ground black pepper, and some garlic powder. I always say season your meats because this is just an additional layer to the flavor profile of this recipe. I say your hands are your best mixing tools, so give that a go. Mix the meat up, make sure everything is evenly covered, and set aside. It is time to stir fry. First things first, I'm going to add my shallots into a pan. My pan is just olive oil. If you have canola oil or avocado oil, you could certainly use that as well. I want to cook the shallots down for about a minute or 2, just before they start to soften up just a bit. And I'm going to go ahead and add in the Serrano peppers. Now feel free to omit the Serrano peppers if that's not your jam, or if you want to substitute because you can't find Serrano peppers, you can also use jalapenos. Once both of these cook for about 4 to 5 minutes or so, just long enough to get soft, I'm going to go ahead and add in my garlic, remove from heat, and set aside. Next up, we need to go ahead and cook the meat. So I'm just going to add this into a pretty hot pan. I don't have any additional oil in this pan because I want this to get a nice sear. I'm going to cook this meat maybe a medium, so I'm going to cook this maybe about 3 minutes max, just until I get a nice crust on the outside of that beef, and then I will be removing that from the heat. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the sear that you're looking for. Once you finish cooking your beef, go ahead into that same pot, add in 1.5 cups of water, or depending on the amount of noodles you'll be cooking, add a corresponding amount. I have the water going to a nice rolling boil, and I'm going to go ahead and add in my ramen noodles. For this recipe, I'm going to be using 3 full packs of ramen noodles, so adjust it based on how many servings you're anticipating having. After about a minute or so, you want to go ahead and flip the noodles, break them up, all that good stuff to make sure that all the noodles are getting evenly coated in the water, and throw the lid back on and let it finish cooking for about another minute or two. Okay, so at that last minute of boiling, I did turn my heat up to high because I wanted to cook all the additional liquid out of there. I didn't want this ramen dish to be super soupy. I want it to be more of a stir fry so that the sauce would stick. I've added into the pan all of the beef, all of the peppers, all of the onion, all of the garlic, and now it is time for the main ingredient. That is this delicious sauce that we have made. Like, it's so good. You just want to give this a nice toss, stir everything up, make sure all the noodles are evenly coated, and you are essentially done. It is time to plate this bad boy up. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this delicious sauce. Oh, so good. Please try this recipe, give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and enjoy.